A bodybuilder who was preparing for his first competition recently reached out to say that he was nervous about competing. He wanted to know if Mike had any tips that helped him deal with occasional flashes of self-doubt, and how he cultivated the appearance of total self-confidence that he always exuded. I think you will find Mike's advice on such matters to be of general interest, whether you're a bodybuilder preparing to enter your first competition or simply dealing with confidence issues. Perhaps the most significant part of Mike's legacy lies in his ability to motivate people and impart certain philosophical or psychological principles that instilled confidence. Mike used to say that anyone who tells you he's absolutely certain he's going to win a contest, or that he never experiences any self-doubts, is either deluding you or trying to buttress a flagging sense of confidence. As he once indicated, it is only natural to be aware of the possibility of losing. The evidence is in the history books. There isn't a champion bodybuilder alive who hasn't lost at least one contest. Even a smidgen of self-doubt just may be healthy, since it gives you that added motivation to train even harder. The important thing is to plan your contest preparation carefully, and then give yourself over to it 100%. If you've given it all you've got, what else could you have done? Be realistic. And if you lose, view it as a learning experience and resolve to do better the next time. After the contest, review your training journal and analyze your training, dieting, aerobics, and posing for any possible mistakes. Then correct them. Despite your episodes of self-doubt, continue to cultivate a successful and positive-orienting vision. Avoid contact with negative-type people before the contest. Even more important, refrain from making negative utterances of your own. Negative thoughts and comments seem to program the individual to behave in a like manner. Think positively, speak positively, and you'll act accordingly. In Mike's last writing, The Psychology of a Competitive Bodybuilder, a Narrative Tale, he makes the following point that you would do well to remember.
As I stood there languidly, with my hands in my pockets and head cocked to one side, I entered into a reverie, transported back to the moment when I'd made the final decision to officially enter my first contest, the local championship. For days prior to my final decision, my characteristic mindset was seriously impaired. What had been an imperturbable serenity disappeared, supplanted by a ceaseless profusion of thoughts that chafed my spirit, causing a ceaseless uneasiness. An ominous cloud lined with fear, doubt, and uncertainty now obscured my once radiant self-confidence. Day in and day out, without surcease, I was plagued by rabidly virulent questions of a nature that was uncharacteristic of my mental makeup. Do I suffer some nameless idiosyncratic deficiency in my overall makeup? Something not shared by the others? Do I have what it takes to go through with this? Do I have the genetics required to enter and at least not embarrass myself? As this odious litany continued, it traversed the concrete, culminating in the mystically abstract. Perhaps there exists a cosmological conspiracy whose aim is to prevent me from doing my best, from doing what is required to achieve my best ever muscular condition. Seeking to escape the solipsistic torture chamber, I trotted out my favorite bodybuilding book, the one I always went to for inspiration. Finally, I reached one of my favorite passages. It was that point in the book where it stated, "Everyone, including the top champs, experience fluctuations in motivation and confidence. Don't be duped into believing that successful individuals possess some mystical endowment, and then tear your hair out wondering if you have it. Neither is the high-level motivation and the associated self-confidence an accident of birth randomly bestowed upon a blessed few, but is, in fact, a trait that can be cultivated by anyone." This acted to remind me that mine was a volitional consciousness, that I did indubitably possess voluntary control over my mental contents. Therefore, there was no good reason to continue lacerating myself with the same unnerving semi-conscious palaver. That's all that was required, a few rational ideas to put a halt to my seemingly endless irrational negative doubts, and restore peace and calm within my soul. There was a sense of liberation that attended this realization, and now I was back to my old self, no longer hampered by any adventitious doubts concerning the contest. I was ready to pick up the gauntlet. With a redoubtable certitude, I consecrated that moment to my decision to enter, ready to test my mettle, wade through the challenging trenches and embark upon the course of action I knew was necessary. Let the chips fall where they may.
Your goal should be self-improvement, not dominating others. If you get yourself into your absolute best condition, you've already won. You've won the contest of self-improvement. Whether or not someone else thinks you're the best body on the stage is irrelevant. Are you better than you were before? Are your muscles bigger, fuller, more defined, better proportioned than they were before? If so, then you've won. Getting a trophy is nice, but it's an external reward given by external sources. If approval doesn't come from you, of what value is it really? If others give it, others can take it back. If you give it to yourself, it remains with you permanently. Again, let us hear from Mike Mentzer on this point. Even though I lost my first two Mr. Olympia contests, I entered both feeling very confident. At the same time, I recognized the fact, though I kept it in the back of my mind, that in something as subjective as a physique contest, anything could happen. And what happened at the 1980 Mr. Olympia in Sydney is proof positive of that. I would have liked to have won each of those contests, of course, but I felt victorious in that I made noticeable improvements in both my physique and presentation each year. Good luck in your upcoming contest, and be the best you can be.